Hello, I'm Jeff Thompson, Vice President of HVAC at APR Supply. Welcome. We are recording the regulatory update we have been providing at our 2024 equipment dealer meetings for your review. And again, we will cover regulatory issues as well as a few other issues. The various subjects we'll cover today will be the AIM Act, the 2025 refrigerant changes coming in equipment, R410A's future, the DOE gas furnace final rule, the DOE proposed boiler efficiency rule, and an update on the Inflation Reduction Act for both federal as well as state programs. I'd first like to begin by identifying our product leadership team. If you have any questions about HVAC or hydronics products programs, these guys are the experts. First of all, I'm the VP. In the central region, we have Matt Novello. In the west, we have Rob Chalky. And on the east, we have Tom Frank. Showing you those regions, this kind of gives you a little idea of where they are. Again, Tom Frank is in that southeast region, Matt Novello in the central region, and Rob Chalky is in the western region. Additionally, what is the goal? What is why is the product management team in place? Well, first of all, we want to provide the best programs, products, support, training, and resources for our customers. We also want to support and promote current and future contractor services. If you are not familiar with that, you might want to ask outside sales reps, product managers, or the branches or regional branch leaders. These are programs put in place that will help you be more profitable and grow your business. Also, we want to lead through regulatory and industry changes. That's what we will be talking about a lot today. And overall, the alignment of the product management team with our tech support and training group, TSAs, as well as our commercial department to create synergies to better serve you, our customers. So now to begin the regulatory update. First, we're going to review the contested final gas furnace rule that is now law and has been entered into the Federal Register last year. 5 years from that date when it was introduced, the law will be enforced. It's a highly contested rule for a multitude of reasons. So let's talk about what the new efficiencies are. Based on the rule, the new minimum efficiency for non-weatherized residential gas furnaces, including mobile home gas furnaces, will be 95%. This will likely cause problems with venting, especially in urban areas and anywhere where venting becomes an issue because of ingress, egress, as well as over sidewalks, and especially if there's shared chimneys. There is also currently a federal lawsuit against the DOE. It was filed with the D.C. Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals this past December. It will likely take a while for the suit to progress because the enforcement is not going to be enforced, until 2028. The efficiency change was attempted way back in 2016. There was another lawsuit, and because it was a protected feature, non-condensing was protected as a feature. The lawsuit was won, and the change was shot down. So the DOE had to go back to the drawing board. Well, they are at it again, and here we are. Based on that, if that change in the lawsuit are won, then we may not have to switch to the 95% minimum efficiency requirement. In addition, the DOE is also attempting to change and make an increase in minimum efficiencies for boilers. And as you can see by this slide, gas hot water boilers would be increased to 95%, gas steam 82%, oil-fired hot water 88%, oil-fired steam at 86%. Essentially, what you're looking at is the end of cast iron atmospherically vented boilers, especially for gas-fired hot water, and then would have to introduce condensing oil-fired boilers as well. This could create some problems. If the lawsuit against the gas furnace rule is won and positive, there would likely be another lawsuit in place, put in place, if this were to become final rule and also entered into the Federal Register as law. So now let's shift subjects. Let's talk about the AIM Act. That authorizes the EPA to address HFCs in three areas. First is the phase down the production and consumption of listed HFCs. Yes, and R410A is one of them. To manage these HFCs and their substitutes, and also to facilitate the transition to next generation technologies. And we will talk a little bit more about that because we are right there now. So a little history lesson on the management of refrigerants and the AIM Act. First of all, the AIM Act is the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act. Basically, how that came into being is the Kigali Amendment was added to the Montreal Protocol in 2016. This was a global warming treaty. At that time, the United States decided not to ratify it. So, to phase down HFCs in the United States in an orderly fashion nationally and not state by state in a patchwork method, the AIM Act needed to be voted in, and it has been and is now law. This gives the EPA the power to manage HFCs and future refrigerants. So let's talk about kind of how this has evolved. Back in the 90s, with the Clean Air Act, we addressed refrigerants with an ozone depletion potential. Now on the right, you can see we are addressing refrigerants with a high global warming potential. This identifies the timeline for all the way from the 50s when we talked about R12 and R22, which were low ozone depleting potential products and high GWP. And we went to R22. Then we shifted to R410A, you can see in the 1990s, which is no ozone depleting potential, but a high global warming potential, or GWP. The next step is 2025, where there'll be no ozone depleting potential, as well as a low GWP, or global warming potential, and that will be for both refrigerants, R32 and R454B, which are both classified as A2Ls. A2Ls are low toxicity level refrigerants with a low flammability rate. Don't be afraid, there is no R290 propane in this. A lot of people are a little disillusioned and they think there is propane, but there is not. Okay, this slide shows the sequence on the phase in of the new refrigerants and equipment with all the information needed. From the left, you had the proposed rule. In the middle, you had the final rule. And then all the way on the right, we had the updated final rule. So that's the way it ends up, and that's the way it is as far as law and what the manufacturers have to do to comply. First of all, packaged units. They will have a maximum of 700 GWP, or global warming potential, to be allowed to be utilized in equipment. There will be a manufacturing ban of the old refrigerants and implementation of the new refrigerants on January 1st, 2025. For package, there will be a 3-year sell-through. For split systems, including ductless mini splits, also there will be a maximum of 700 GWP for the new refrigerants. There will be a manufacturing ban January 1st, 2025 for R410A, and there will be also an installation ban for complete systems January 1st, 2026 for R410A. What does that mean? Means legally after January 1st, 2026, you may not install an R410A bearing system that where you match the indoor unit and the outdoor unit with a line set as a complete system. There will, however, be indefinite component replacement service use. So yes, if you need to replace an outdoor unit or the indoor coil, that may occur indefinitely. So what is the rule? On January 1st, 2026, manufacturers can't use refrigerants in their equipment that have a global warming potential or GWP of over 700. This is for match systems in the US. R32 is 675, as you can see here, just making it under that 700 global warming potential limit. And R454B is quite a bit lower at 466. As far as the competition, it's either R32 or R454B. As you can see on here, there is no propane, no R290 used in this refrigerant. The R454B is a blend of R32 and 1234YF, which is an HFO or a hydrofluoroolefin. HFOs are pretty close to zero for GWP, and that's what assists this blend to get so far down as far as the GWP rating. If you have other questions, where can you find information that you can just ask on A2L refrigerants? Well, this is a great spot. If you go to www.hardynet.org, there is a spot called Ask A2L. You can see in the top there, once you go on the website, it's on their homepage. You click that, and it will take you to this screen that is basically an AI chatbot that will give you all the information, anything you want to know about A2Ls. You simply add your company information and your information, including emails, and they will allow you at no charge. It's a free service to be able to ask any questions you're interested in. Also, APR has been providing A2L low GWP refrigerant training for over a year. So how can you find out about that? Simply go to aprsupply.com, hover over the education button, and click on events and training. This will take you to our calendar for all trainings as well as events. You can either look at it in a chronological layout or in a monthly view. You can also register for these training classes. So what should we expect with R410A with the AIM Act phase down of the refrigerants? Again, this is different than the transition to new refrigerants and the new equipment. This just covers the overall phase down of HFCs, including R410A. This slide identifies the timeline. So in 2022, we went to a 10% reduction of the amount of virgin R410A that could be manufactured. And we've been under that for the last 2 years. We did see a slight fluctuation, a rise in cost of R410A. So now we're in a bigger step down. We are currently beginning this year, 2024, a 40% reduction in the amount of virgin refrigerant that can be manufactured based on the baseline that was established in the beginning of the AIM Act. This slide will further identify the expected demand as the top line, and in the phase down amount of refrigerant is the bottom line. You can see the step downs. So we've seen a price drop over the last month or so with R410A. It seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it? Well, there have been studies conducted that have identified a lot of R410A available in the United States, as well as a glut of R125, one of the components in R410A identified in 2022. Well, that glut of R125, if combined with R32, which is unrestricted, would provide a lot of R410A. So the initial hypothesis is dumping of that R125 will make shortages unlikely for quite a while. There are other variables that could affect this, but right now we're expecting plenty of R410A, at least for the next year to 2 years. That said, we still have a need to recover and reclaim R410A for our future. So to shift gears again, let's talk about the status of the Inflation Reduction Act. With 25C tax credits, so tax credits for 25C and 25D, which is for add-on replacement, 45L, which is residential new construction, and 179D is for commercial efficiency improvements. On the bottom there, you can also see we have the state administered rebates, and we will dig into both of those. To look at both of those on the right-hand side, you can see the tax credits. These are federal level tax credits at all incomes. Tax credits can be combined with one another and additional rebates, state rebates. The state credit can also be filed, it would be filed in that taxable year. On the rebate side, it is state administered, state level. It does favor lower to moderate income households. It is federally funded, so rebates cannot be combined with one another, and it is intended for immediate point of sale benefits. Let's focus on the state rebate program status first. Again, this is the Home Efficiency Rebate Program and the Home Electrification and Appliance Rebates Program. The DOE is giving guidance to the states to develop the programs and understand where they'll be able to be directed, where they're directed. The home efficiency rebate is a whole home rebate based on modeled or measured increases in home efficiency. The home electrification and appliance rebate is the one you've been hearing about, with the $8,000 for a heat pump being thrown around left and right. Well, the guidance is federal funding will be provided for the states when their application is approved for the programs. And yes, this is a lot of money. It is up to $14,000 for qualified citizens. You can see the numbers there. It is up to $8,000 for qualifying heat pumps, $1,750 for qualified heat pump water heaters, $4,000 for electric service upgrades if they're required, up to $1,600 for insulation, air sealing, and ventilation improvements, and even $2,500 for electric wiring changes that might be needed in order to accommodate a heat pump installation. So here are some key pieces of information for you. It is not retroactive. The DOE has confirmed that these will be immediate rebates, so they're only available when the states roll out the programs. This will be a point of sale rebate, so they are not retroactive. If you have customers that think they might qualify for the state rebate that has already had the equipment installed, they will not. Sorry to break it, but they will not. It will not be available until implementation date that is released by the states. Implementers will oversee the programs. So the good news is you as a contractor won't have to do any verification. The implementers will verify consumers' eligibility and provide the data, coupons, or whatever else is needed for proof that the consumer qualifies. Both programs will be directed towards low to moderate income households. Verification by the implementers won't be fast. So this is not a great program for emergency replacements. This is really geared towards planned replacements. So what does the flow look like? First of all, if you want to see these steps or any additional data, I recommend you go to energy.gov. There's a plethora of information for you to look at. But the state steps in order to qualify and get the funding, first of all, number one, prepare the application for the U.S. Department of Energy for program funding. They prepare it, and then the applications must be submitted to the DOE for their review. Then the DOE approves the state programs or gives them guidance of what they need to change to qualify, and then awards the funding. And lastly, the states launch their programs at their suggested implementation date. This slide gives you a little overview of also what you can find on energy.gov. This is hovering over the state of Pennsylvania and shows that Pennsylvania has been allocated a total of $259,206,000 and change for the state programs. They have also been awarded upfront funding in order to develop the program. So this is administrative funding for implementation companies, and the law allows 2.5% of the total allocated fundings up to a maximum of $5 million. Pennsylvania was awarded the full $5 million. This slide shows the general status. As you can see, early administrative fundings, again, that's that 2.5% to develop the programs. And you can see Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey, none of them have handed in their program to the DOE for review, and they do not currently have the funding available to implement the program. That said, at this point, only 10 states have applied for the full funding with programs submitted to the DOE. You can see them at the bottom. To get a little more granular on the state statuses, you can see Delaware has received the implementation funds to put the programs together, and currently they are only planning, as far as what we can see, on releasing the home efficiency rebate, which is the modeled or measured efficiency improvement, later this fall. So there's nothing in here that talks about the appliance rebate. From the energy.gov, New Jersey is kind of missing in action. There isn't any information available, but I have heard that they are developing their programs. A little more definitive for Pennsylvania, the funds have been awarded, and the expected rollout for both programs is later in 2024, likely in the fourth quarter. So now let's switch to the federal tax credits, going away from the state rebates, now to the federal tax credits. First, we're going to talk about Section 25C, which has been in place since 2023, last year. This program will continue for quite a while, all the way until 2032. This allows for 30% of the installed cost of HVAC products that qualify, up to $600 for air conditioners, $600 for furnaces, $600 for boilers, $2,000 for heat pumps, as well as $2,000 for heat pump water heaters. They must meet the CEE efficiency levels for SEER2, EER2, HSPF2, and AFUE in order to qualify for 25C. Another nice site that you can look at to describe 25C is Rewiring America. Now be careful here, because this site only covers heat pumps and heat pump water heaters. It does not talk about furnaces, boilers, or air conditioners. Again, this kind of gives you another view of what they show with FAQs. So it's a nice site if you're planning on offering 25C for heat pumps only. Here are some other frequently asked questions for 25C. First of all, is there a limit in the amount of the energy efficient home improvement credit that I can claim? Well, yeah, the answer is yes. First of all, you must have a tax liability to match the amount that you're claiming, and it is up to $3,200 for a year. This will be year in and year out, and you can see that it is for electric or natural gas heat pumps, water heaters, electric or natural gas heat pumps, and you can see all the products on there we reviewed in the last slide. Is there a lifetime limit on the credits? The answer is no. There is no lifetime limit. Again, it will go through the end of 2032 and be available. It will be a standalone year-on-year credit. So if you have a product that qualifies installed in that year and you have a tax liability to cover the amount that you're going to claim, you can do it year after year. Next question. May taxpayers carry forward unused credits to another tax year? Again, this is for 25C. The answer is no. 25C must be claimed for the tax year it was installed. Now with 25D we'll get to for geothermal, that's a little bit different. This slide again is from Rewiring America and is a nice little spot to give you some answers to FAQs. Again, it really only covers air source and geothermal heat pumps. Now let's talk about geothermal specifically. That is under tax section 25D, not 25C, 25D. And this started in 2022 through 2032. This will cover up to 30% of the installed cost with no limit, no cap, all the way through 2032. So if you have a $30,000 installation job, total install cost for a geothermal heat pump, that value could be up to $9,000 for a consumer. And you can see based in 2032 and 2034, they will be subsequent scale down years on the amount that you can claim. Again, here are some frequently asked questions. It is 30% uncapped. It is non-refundable. So again, households must have an adequate tax liability. However, 25D does allow for a second year, subsequent year to claim. So if you were going for that claim, and let's say it is that $9,000, but you only paid $5,000 in that tax year, you get the $5,000 the first year, and as long as you have another tax liability that second year, you can go ahead and claim that's the balance on that second year. If you're curious on how to apply or what the details are for 25C or 25D, again, hardynet.org is a great site to go to. And this will even show you a video on Form 5695, which is utilized for both of those tax credit claims. So in summary, there's a lot of money out there through the Inflation Reduction Act. In addition to the state programs, this is a summary of the federal tax credits. Again, 25C for add-on replacements for air conditioners, gas furnaces, boilers, heat pumps, and heat pump water heaters that qualify based on efficiencies. Also covers 25D for geothermal heat pumps. 45L, which we didn't really discuss, these are new home construction or residential new construction rebates that go to the builders for them achieving specific efficiencies that are effectively net zero energy homes. And then also 179D, which is based on, which are tax credits for commercial energy efficiency improvements. Thank you. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to me, Jeff Thompson with APR Supply, or ask any APR employee, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. Thank you and have a great night.